Aclara Resources say that they're a technology company with its own mines for procuring rare earths. They're building the very first heavy rare earth separation facility in the US, effectively creating a mine-to-magnet supply chain that sources from ionic clay deposits in Brazil and Chile. Recently, the company also released a pre-feasibility study on the Carina project, which is located in Brazil. Francois, good to have you back here on our program. Let's start with this question. Why does being first in America matter? And what's the advantage of sourcing from jurisdictions like Brazil and Chile?
Of course, and thank you. I'm glad to be back. It's very important to be first regarding this separation facility in the US. We are targeting heavy rare earths, as you know. Heavy rare earths are the most constrained part of the rare earth industry. And actually, separation of heavy rare earth does not exist, and there's where we want to be the first ones. But this is not just a facility, like any other. The advantage of this facility is, as you mentioned, it comes with feedstock already from two potential mines in South America, Chile and Brazil. And what we're doing, and we believe this is a very successful proposal, is we are designing this facility tailor-made for the characteristics of the products that we will be producing both in Chile and in Brazil. And it's not that a facility like others where they have to design it for different feedstock, and they might not even know yet what kind of feedstock they are going to receive. We know exactly, and that allows us to go very fast.
Well, you're targeting 70% or 75% rather of U.S. demand for dysprosium and terbium by 2028. How realistic are those production targets?
No, those are totally realistic, and we'll talk a little bit further about that. But mainly, we have developed a PFS in Carina, and that PFS already declares reserves, and from that reserves is going to come a very large production based on the capacity of that plant in Brazil. Some to the one in Chile, we are going to be producing those high amounts of dysprosium and terbium. Actually, they used to be a lower percentage, but it's true that the slowdown in EVs have made that this production grows in context to the demand for the next 5 years. However, when we see other applications such as robotics, such as electronics, this demand that we are covering will reduce, but most towards 2030 onwards. But it's totally realistic that we will be supplying a very large amount. And this is, when we speak it, not supplying only US customers. It's not that we will supply only US customers. We might supply other parts of the world, such as European customers, such as Korean, but we will do it from the US.
So the PFS on Carina, in terms of highlight numbers, it shows $1.1 billion in NPV, 22% in IRR, and a 4.5-year payback. What do you say makes these economics strong?
Yes, many things, but I will start by saying that this pre-feasibility study has been developed under 43101 standard, and this is a very strong standard in relation to quality. Second, we're the first ionic clay to declare reserves under this standard, which make the mining numbers very trustful. Then on the capex front, we have quoted over 80% of the equipment, and in some cases we have received over 15 quotations. So we have a very good understanding and depth of information in relation to the capex. In relation to the OPEX, that has actually reduced from the last study in 4%. It contains a lot of learnings from our pilot facility that we run in Brazil for the last 6 months. So this is not only a study in paper, but actually we have cross-referenced this with our piloting experience, and this is the third piloting we do. So we believe that the numbers of this study are very strong. And then on the side of the revenue, we've used prices outside of China. We believe this is actually makes sense in relation to the situation where China has export restricted the rare earths. We are looking at prices in Europe that are very high, And we believe the industry in the West requires actually high prices for not to develop this alternative value chain. So all of this makes these economics, I would say, very strong and very aligned to the situation we're living, where we're trying to run and we're trying to create something new, but also something that is much better to the status quo, which currently is the supply from China. No?
And, we're closing off this year here in December. What kind of upside do you, want or can you or want to talk about here when it comes to Aclara's story for 2026?
Significant upside, significant catalyst. Actually, the 2026 is a major year for Aclara. I'm going to start on the permitting front. We're looking to receive in the first quarter of 2026 the permits for Brazil, the Carina project, and for Chile, the Penco module. So that's a huge catalyst for us, and it will reduce significantly the risk of the whole strategy. Then we have the development or the completion of the basic engineering for the US plant. It will be ready in June. And in parallel, we have been implementing a pilot plant for separation in Virginia Tech University. That pilot facility will start running at full capacity by March. And the idea is to fully demonstrate the technology by June, matching the completion also of the basic engineering. This will allow us in the US to be ready to start the construction by the end or by the second half of 2026. In the case of Carina, I'm coming back to Brazil. We are also putting a lot of effort on the feasibility study. The pre-feasibility study that we published has significant detail, much more detail than a standard pre-feasibility. And that has allowed us to potentially have the feasibility study by the first quarter of next year. So basically, in short, what we're doing next year is completing all the development for the projects in Aclara next year and getting prepared for the construction. What is going to trigger the construction, and that's one of the main catalysts that people should be close to, is the commercial offtake. So as soon as we sign a commercial agreement, we are going to be in a position to start the construction. We're, of course, putting a lot of effort on that front, mainly focusing now in US customers, but also, as I mentioned, also discussing with other continents outside of China. And that will allow us to start the construction. We're prioritizing the US and Brazil initially, but even Chile could start the construction also next year. So it's a significant year for Aclara. Our priority, again, as I mentioned, is completing all the development of the projects, having the permits, and as soon as we have the commercial agreement, move forward to the construction of the assets.
All right. That's all my questions for this one, Francois, but we'll see you in the next one.
Excellent. Thank you, Rachel.